My name is Shannon. I'm the lead faculty here of the Applied Psychology Program at LAPU. And George is joining me as well. George, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Hello, I'm George Hanshaw, Director of Digital Learning Solutions here at LAPU, and worked really closely with Shannon and all the amazing ideas and concepts that she comes up with. So I look forward to just chatting.
Yeah, me too. This particular topic, we are talking about how we are using AI to really uh, make our psychology program very dynamic, at the same time making sure that we target two primary things that we think of when it comes to education, but also education in the field of psychology. So we know that active learning is way better than passive learning. All the research tells us. So we're trying to find more and more ways to add active learning, especially in an asynchronous online learning environment. So creative ways to do this, and we're finding that AI has really been helpful in doing this. The other thing we're trying to target as in a psychology program. We all know this. We're an applied psychology program, so our focus is teaching and training practical skills, tools, techniques, applied theory, so students are really learning the skills to go and work with people. Okay, and so you all probably know this as well. What is our tension of how do we train our students in a way that is safe and ethical before they're out in the field working with real life people, right? So those are the challenges we always find in education, active learning, especially in an online environment, and in psychology. How do we prepare our students with clinical skills when they aren't interacting with real people until they get usually to their practicum or internship? AI has been the answer that we didn't know was coming down the line for years. And I want to thank George again for kind of pushing us in this direction towards AI and educating our faculty and guiding us. And also to our team, Callista is on here, and Kenna introduced me. And there's so many on our DLS team that really help create what we really want to come to life. So I have a lot of ideas, and then our team comes and I say, hey, can we do this? And they're like, yeah, and they make it happen. So just kudos to our DLS Digital Learning Solutions team. They're awesome. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of what we're doing in the psychology classes. And this is just the beginning, I'd say. I'm really excited. We've already started using AI characters. If you were in either my earlier workshop or the panel, you heard me talk a little bit about that, and I gave a demonstration how we're using AI characters. But I'm also on the verge of adding new AI active learning to in a different capacity, actually two or three different capacities in new classes. So I'm just going to share with you what we're doing. And George, pop in whenever you want to, just to kind of share your ideas on this too. Did you have something you
Absolutely.
wanted to add? Yeah.
No, no, keep going. I love what you've done with the active learning piece and all the different things that you've pushed us to help create, to co-create with you. So
Well,
it's been an
thank you.
awesome ride.
It has been. And again, your team is amazing. So I'm just going to go ahead and share with what we're doing. And I know this is the tip of the iceberg, and we're going to come up with even more things. Okay. So currently we are using, I shared this earlier, we're using active learning AI characters to do role plays with our students. So they're learning the clinical skills and applying the clinical skills in real time with these AI characters. One of the fun things about these characters that I showed in the demonstration earlier is they also will give um, behaviors that they're doing as well. So nonverbal. So sometimes a client may just be looking down. If it's a child, they may be drawing. It will give behaviors like maybe they're trembling, or they'll give emotions. They look sad. And so our students have to react to whatever the character is giving to them in real time. One of the benefits of using AI characters for role play as well is that students will submit the entire dialogue of the role play to the instructor. And we go in and we provide feedback for students based on the entire dialogue. We see things like, okay, open-ended questions, or maybe using iMessages, how they're showing empathy, some places where they need to maybe stop advising and instead they need to ask questions to guide. And so we can go in directly to the dialogue that they had in real time with this character and provide really interactive, useful feedback for our students as well. So we are using the AI characters in our crisis intervention and counseling class. We're about to launch in summer one. Them in our motivation class, the students are using them to practice motivational interviewing as well. Now, let's talk about the new ways we're going to be incorporating AI as well. So I'm going to be using an AI assistant, and not Spark. It's going to be something a little bit different in our capstone classes. These are the classes, there's a series of 3 classes that our psych students go through as they get to the end of their academic career here, right? So there's 2 different projects. One is obviously a practicum in the field, and then sometimes they have a psychoeducation project. They develop a psychoeducation curriculum, they interview professionals, they do presentations. So we're using AI in Capstone 1 class and Capstone 2 class in 2 different ways. In Capstone 1 class, as they are preparing for either their field work or their psychoeducation project, we're going to be, when I say we, it's going to be our DLS team, but what we're going to do is we're going to have characters that represent different populations that our students may be working with in the field to practice engaging with them. Okay, so we might have characters who are veterans or characters who are struggling with substance use disorder or adolescents or those who are experiencing housing insecurity and those type of things. And we will train them with certain characteristics, cultural aspects, ages, that type of thing, so students can practice interacting before they go in the field, okay? On the other side of the other project, for psychoeducation project, students are going to be able to practice interviewing with the characters because they're going to be interviewing professionals in the field for part of their project. So they can start practicing the questions and interacting as though they're sitting in front of a professional and getting some of that skill, real-time questions under their belt before they get there. Now for Capstone 2, again, I mentioned our psychoeducation project. What we're going to be having students do for this is different. This is where I talked about the AI assistants. We're going to have students train AI assistants based on their project topic and population. So let's say that a student is doing a project on, I think I mentioned this earlier, like PTSD in veterans. Well, then they would train the AI assistant on the topic of veterans who are experiencing PTSD with credible research. Now, it could be something like junior high students and bullying, or it could be anything, whatever their topic is on premarital counseling, whatever it might be. But we're going to be testing those AI assistants together in a discussion forum. So students will be able to incorporate the link to their AI character. They're going to submit that for review, but also we're going to engage, all the colleagues are going to engage in that cohort with the different characters. There's going to be prompts to guide them towards what they can ask the assistants and that type of thing. So that's just now in the process of being built. But those are just a few ways we are using AI in our psychology program to instigate active learning, but also create ethical and safe pathways for students to be preparing with clinical skills, to work with real people, and become AI literate, because they have to be as we move forward in the future. If they do not know how to use AI effectively, they're going to fall behind. And we want to be ahead of the game and prepare students for their professional future.
And Shannon, how are they getting feedback throughout, like if they're creating the assistant or whatever they're doing? How are they getting feedback directly from you? Are they getting feedback from the model? How's that kind of work?
That is a great question, George. That is still in the devising stage because we haven't written that out yet, but they will be receiving instructor feedback for sure. It just depends on how we are crafting that particular assignment. These are still in the working stages. So our expectation for all of our assignments for instructors is to give very detailed feedback. As an online institution, we know how important that is. However, we're also going to be allowing their colleagues, other students in the class, to give feedback as well during discussion when they are engaging with the AI assistants. So they're going to be getting feedback from me, but they're also going to be getting feedback from their colleagues as well as the colleagues use the AI assistants too. So there's going to be two levels of feedback there.
You know what I love about that is, so that's basically telling me and every other academic in the world that you have to really embrace iteration too,
Mm,
and a certain level of uncertainty because we're not there yet, but we
right.
will get there, however it is. Super interesting.
Right. And this is why the pre-implementation training is really important too. So I'll go through and I will test everything out along with your DLS team before it's live with our students to make sure we look at it through the lens of a student and not knowing anything about about AI and how to craft instructions to guide them step by step to make it user friendly for them. So they're not in, well, we can't help if they're intimidated, but we hopefully will help them to move past intimidation and guide them through the steps to do that.
Oh, we have a comment here. AA to real learning, experience, practice, conversation, reflection. AI holds much promise for all areas. Yeah, we
Absolutely.
and Shannon, with what you're doing there, that's kind of bringing all of that in together. That's
Mhm.
pretty amazing. Let me take a side trail real quick. What made you start thinking of this?
Well, let's see. Well, initially, George, you have, as the DLS director here, you have helped our faculty start engaging and accepting and being excited about AI. But in terms of I, I just am a creative thinker. I think I like to
You
think
are.
outside the box of how can we continue to push our students to learn actively, to acquire the best skills before they're interacting with people. I'm always thinking about what we do, how we train our students will impact how they work with people in the future. So how can we do that to our very best of our ability to help equip and empower our students? And so I like to think outside the box, and you have a great team to support and encourage
They're
me to do
amazing.
that. And then they make it happen even and better than I can even imagine.
So here's my takeaway then from what you said. You basically came up with these concepts from really a place of love and caring for the students.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
so as long as we do that, we're going to drive that further jumping out of whatever box we might be in, right?
Right.
That
Right.
sounds that's kind of amazing. I never thought of it like that. You gave me some good food for thought. Thank you.
Well, thank you for pushing us in this direction and a very encouraging, supportive, loving, and kind of like that football linebacker way, you got us moving in that direction. So now I fully have embraced it. So if anyone out there is a little hesitant because you haven't really incorporated these in your classes yet, know that we've all been there and it's new, but it's not going away. So it's really been incredible. I've seen such just to talk about our students and what I'm seeing and the outcomes. I'm seeing such great things like empathy, great use of open-ended questions, iMessages, being able to offer client control and different things. I see them doing these things. They're applying what they've learned in the classroom in these dialogues. And I'm just super impressed with students. And it's also, as an instructor, it's edifying to see that they're learning and putting into practice what they learned in the classrooms, and it's going well. So
Thank you so much, Shannon, and we'll see you in the next session. Appreciate you sharing all your experience.
thank you all.